Let's try this. Let's try this. Try this. There's nobody on, so we can practice.
All right.
Close this over here.
So you're on the YouTube right now, right? You're live?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me go on live. Let me go onto the channel now.
Yep.
Because then I can, that's how I'll moderate it, right?
Yep.
So. Okay, here we go. I will turn the volume down. You've got the chat going. All right, okay. So
I mean, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my headphones in, so that should, like you said, that should fully help.
Yeah. All right, 2 people on. Does that mean 1 and?
That means me and 1.
Okay. How you doing, my friend? So, the chat. Can you see the chat? We're getting set up here. Okay, now they're gone.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
Maybe puts a comment in because I can't see anything.
Oh, sure.
All messages are visible.
Good. All right, so we'll give it a couple of minutes.
Hey, all. Okay, good.
And otherwise, we'll give it a minute, and then we'll give these guys a minute, and then otherwise we will get going. And we'll just start talking about getting through the holidays, and we've got a couple of questions on the email, so we'll go through those as well.
Yeah, excellent. So, thanks for sharing your stories. You got it, my friend. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself, whoever's on? Tell us how we can help you.
Perfect. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just a thank you, but shoot, I guess. So if there's anything you want to ask, shoot. Go for it. Ask us your question. And in the meantime, whilst Shoot is having a think, we got a couple of questions on the email. So why don't I go through those first?
Yeah, and then we'll see other people join and we'll return.
Exactly. So the first question we received, I'm going to call him David. Okay. All right. I'm not using his real name, his email address, or anything. I'm just referring to him as David. He knows I'm going to refer to him as David on this call. All right. So this is a guy that we actually spoke to about a month or so ago, and his divorce just came through, all right? And he's already dating someone. She has 3 kids, but it's more of a sexual thing than anything else. Is this a bad idea or good idea? And I think she said, yeah. And he got separated in June. Divorce was just happening. So, yeah. So she's seeing someone right now with 3 kids. It's a sexual thing only. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Randy, you get us your take first, and then bring me in.
How long's he been divorced?
I think it just happened. So we spoke to him. I think maybe let's say in August, and the divorce was. He was fearful of divorce. So let's say it's been like a month. Let's say it's been a month.
Right. So good. Okay, so. It's not always so much about what you're doing, it's your frame of mind and what your intention is. Like is he looking for love hereafter or have a need met? Is she clear on what he wants to do? Generally when you're over 40 or 50, whatever, people get the story. You're at the same wavelength, but I would say it's awesome. Go for it. Just don't complicate things by being on different pages, because if she has one expectation, he doesn't need that. He's dealing with all this other stuff. And then use this to grow, okay? It can be an outlet, that's fine, but it doesn't mean you're not doing your morning breathing or some kind of exercise or whatever. So make it a plus to your life and not an escape. Using sex in this person and getting into something to avoid the situation you're leaving. That's my take.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, I agree. It's very important that they're on the same page. I mean, if it's a fact that they're both looking for something just sexual, just a physical thing right now, then they're not hurting anyone, right? But like Randall says, if you're thinking David of it just being a sexual thing, but she's thinking and hoping for something more, then you kind of end up being the bad guy, and then you have to ask yourself, is that really what you want to be? All right. I do remember from his past, when we spoke to him, he was heavy into exercise.
Oh, good.
So he's already got that kind of outlet. So yeah, that's our first question.
Yeah, don't cause any more stress in life. You're already under stress. You don't need more from other people outside. But it sounds like he's fairly balanced. I would say, and what are your thoughts on this? The fact that he asked that question is a question, right? Why would he ask that question? That's an insight into personality or some issue, perhaps. So he's got to look at that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's more of a psychological aspect, right? Like the fact that he's asking could kind of indicate that he feels that this may be kind of an issue. Maybe because I do remember he didn't want a divorce when it was happening.
Right.
So is this a kind of rebound thing? Is he kind of filling his time and filling his energy by seeing this woman on a physical level, as opposed to actually dealing with the feelings that he's going through?
Yeah.
He may be just kind of, okay, well, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with the emotion. He does have kids with his ex-wife.
Dan just asked what we're talking about. Basically, a guy we counseled a bit in the past came back and asked, I'm dating this woman with 3 kids. It's sexual. Is that okay? And we're talking about that. And our points are, one, he asked the question, so he clearly thinks there's an issue there. My take is, as long as you're in a healthy trajectory and everybody's on the same page, you're not causing more issues with the stress you're already feeling with the divorce, that it's fine. But I think David, which is a fictional name, I think he ought to journal about it because it's a question with himself. And this is Joe Biden. Thank you, Benjamin. Yes, I am Joe Biden. Okay, go ahead. Let's not get political, buddy.
Yeah, it was the hair color that gave it away, Randall. So I'm going to go to, because Dan, who just messaged, if you have any more kind of like info that you're looking for from the advice that we just gave, obviously this is being streamed now, but you can always go back and rewatch it just so we're not repeating too much. So the next question, I've told him that we're going to refer to him as
Ben.
Robert.
Get out of here, dude. Ben's a troublemaker. Go ahead.
We're going to refer to him as Robert.
Okay.
So this is his question, okay? I listen to your channel for support and usually catch all your latest videos. I got divorced in 2020. We were together for 7 years. I'm trying to move on. I was in Texas when we divorced. Since then, I've moved back to California to take care of my parents and will be starting graduate school in January. It's still tough. It's like losing a loved one, except they're still alive and they don't want to be with you. I'm challenging myself with exercise, school, and taking care of my parents, but still think about what happened. How do you stay strong to keep moving ahead and to not look back? I still think about what happened and it hurts a lot. So, Randall, why don't you give some advice first and I'll comment.
All right. When I shrugged, Benjamin kept goading me like I'm Hunter Biden or something. That's not at you, the question person. Knucklehead. So, all right. Does this person have kids?
He doesn't mention it. So, what I will say, Robert, is that if you want to get like more specific advice, we can arrange a Zoom call with like a private Zoom call with me and Randall. We can give you some more info. But let's take it that he doesn't have kids. And I'm just assuming that because he was in Texas when he got divorced and he moved back to California. So I'm going to assume there's no kids involved. Right. We don't know, but let's just go with that.
All right. So we're going to get a little higher level because I want to push you. And this is the way through this stuff. And that is Michael Singer, who you heard me talk about a lot. He keeps talking about use what comes up to go to God. Now, when we talk about God, we're talking about the universe, your power, or your whatever. I'm not talking about prayer and all that. You can, but I'm not saying it. So I know what you're feeling, okay? We've been through it. It comes up like these energies just through the body. I mean, even today, I've had situations where I was doing some things that reminded me of a relationship and it comes up. It's like these little demons floating around, okay? So you use that to go to a higher level. How? When it comes up, you let it be. It's like a hot stove. If you grab that stove, it's going to burn you bad. Just let it pass through you. Breathe, relax, build your morning routine, your showers, put some cold in there, your exercise, that kind of thing. But that's the framework. Okay, that's a philosophy. And your issue, and again, whoever this is, what's the name again?
We're going to refer to him as Robert.
All right, Robert, whoever's, you got to reach out to us because this is a more in-depth conversation. Do yourself a favor, email divorcestrong@yahoo.com, set up some time with us and we'll talk. But ultimately, this is about using this to go beyond, and your language is the first thing. I'm trying to move on. Well, I'm trying. How about doing it, right? I'm moving on. That's a different feeling than I'm trying to. Okay? And you do or you don't do. And if it doesn't happen, you still use that language because that's going to move you on. Okay? But I'm happy that you put that out there and you're challenging yourself, obviously, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really strong points. Like he's focused on exercise. He's going back to graduate school in January. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
He said he's looking after his parents, so that's obviously a difficult situation, depending on what the situation with his parents, if it's a health concerns, etc. But the fact he's going back to school, he's exercising, all that's great stuff. And when he says here, how do you stay strong to keep moving ahead and to not look back? He's got to realize that there's nothing wrong with looking back, and just to make sure that he's not punishing himself. Like if he's like going through the day and then suddenly he has a memory about the past, about the ex, it's okay, So I hope he's not punishing himself for thinking about her and that, hey, I should be moving on by now. I should be at this level. I should be seeing someone else. Not necessarily. Some people take a longer time than others to heal. And that just could be what this guy is going through right now. But focus on your exercise because you already said you're doing that. Focus on going back to school because you're already going back to there next month. That's fantastic. Great news. Congratulations on that because, you've been together for 7 years. I don't know how old you are, but you could be in your 40s. And the fact that you're in your 40s or 30s or whatever and going back to school is commendable. So congratulations to you. And even, we're going into a new year. I'm not one big for New Year's resolutions, but maybe write down the fact that you've spent 2021 and you've been divorced for that whole year. Write down the things that you've been through this year that you're proud of. And then each month look back and say, you know what, I did that. No one did it for me, I did that. And get strength from that. But yeah, respond to our email again and we'll be happy to meet with you just in a private Zoom call. We can give you some actual specific advice.
Yeah, you should reach out to us.
Yeah.
Benjamin made a good text about faith and unity and strength, and I like that. Good job. Okay, let's jump to the next one.
Yeah, so we have one more question here, and it really is about our topic, getting through the holidays, which is what we're going to talk about today. And how we get, well, it's a very, not bland, but it was a very top-line question. How do I get through the holidays? This is my first year being completely by myself. What do I do to get through it? He doesn't have kids. He was married for 4 years. He's been divorced for just under a year. So it's just a generic question. We can go into the whole topic, really. How do you get through this first Christmas holiday period by yourself?
Right. Well, and also the guys watching, go ahead and make some comments. What's worked for you? We're a community here, so let's hear from you as well. So for me, it's just a reset of everything we talk about, which is exercise, health, try to eat right, see some friends, look at your attitude, study your attitude, right? Become a student of how you're approaching things. Use this time, which can be pretty intense, to grow, not just go to it. And again, this is more of a tailored thing for where you live, what your physicality is, your work, and everything. The one thing I would say is everything we're talking about is digesting and being with this feeling, not running from it, not burying it in drugs, alcohol, sex, or daydreaming. That can happen the first 48. It's Christmas Day. I get it. But be aware of that's happening. Even if it's a tidal wave and you find yourself doing some things to cover that pain up, we want to be with it. That's the way to work through it. So we're going to bat back and forth and just have a conversation. Again, let's get some comments from you guys watching. Kevin, what's your add-on to this?
Yeah, just before I add to that, this Benjamin guy, you've shared some of your story, Benjamin. Thank you for that. And if there's any questions that you have for us, then throw them in here as well. As same thing for Shoot and Dan and whoever else is watching here. In regards to getting through the first holiday period by yourself, my advice would be to have something to look forward to. It doesn't have to be on the 25th of December. It can be on the 24th, 26th, 27th, 20th. It doesn't matter when it is. But having something to look forward to when you're going through a really difficult time is key. Okay, it's not just a tip. It's actually something that you really need to have. And it doesn't really matter what it is. Some people give themselves Christmas gifts, or, I used to hear of, like, in the movies, like women sending themselves flowers on Valentine's Day, and you may think, well, that's a little bit stupid. But the truth is, if it gets you through the time, who cares what other people think? It gets you through the difficult time. So it's the same thing here. When you're going through this holiday or Christmas period, have something to look forward to, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be a big family get-together, because some of us may not have that. If it's a movie release, or you're going to give yourself a new book, or you're going to try this new workout you found on YouTube, whatever it is, have something to look forward to. Randall?
Yeah, I think that's right. And Benjamin made another comment that's good. Again, yeah, Ben's full of comments here. I like it. There is a line between running and burying it and being with it. So as long as these things are done in a healthy way, I think it's very powerful. And one way to do that is keeping a gratitude journal. A couple people are joining. What we're talking about is getting through the holidays. We should put that on the screen somehow or whatever. But what I've been doing is every morning and every evening, I have this, right? Gratitude. Okay, so I write 3 simple things. Today, I'm very grateful that I am able to recover from this back thing I've been dealing with. I'm very grateful I have clean air, right? And then at night, I'm grateful for the time with my daughter I spent, okay? And if you want, go in the future. I'm grateful that I'm in a beautiful relationship with a beautiful partner, right? These are things you want to start changing the inner dialogue, because it is like a fever, right? Loneliness, guilt, fear, these things come up heated in the body and you can feel them. And that's why we want to get out. I've gotten very into yoga. Okay, so I know that's something in my day. I go out and I'm physically and emotionally and spiritually into that. You don't have to do that. It could be flying model airplanes, whatever. But I think that's a thing between what Kevin and I are talking about. Just have something there and go into it with your full self. And at the same time, be reflective, but not stuck in the mud. A gratitude journal, we're talking about holidays and getting through them. It's the time of year to be gracious, Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc., other holidays. So the gratitude journal sets that framework for you. And if you write it down, there's a direct connection between mind and hand, Kevin.
Yeah, for those people that are just joining us, the question is, how do we get through a first Christmas or holiday period by ourselves? We're just talking about how it's important to have something to look forward to. And I'm going to, Randy, you mentioned 3 things that you have in your life that you're grateful for. I'm going to bring up the issue of comparison, okay? Because some people may look at someone and say, wow, they have all these things, but I don't have anything.
Right.
Okay, but what do you have? I remember when we spoke to one of our clients, and we were talking about the same thing. We were talking about morning routine. And I brought up the issue, not the issue, but I brought up the benefit of waking up in the morning and thinking of 3 things that you're looking forward to that day. And the example I gave was one of the things I was looking forward to that day was vacuuming the floors. Now, you can then say, well, who wants to do that? That makes no sense, right? I didn't want to do it, but the benefit of it is that once I'm done, the floors are cleaner. And you get benefit from that. So it doesn't have to be the actual thing, but it can be the result, right? Randall exercise like a madman. That may not be for everyone. But even if you can just go for like a half-hour walk or 5 burpees, yeah, it's challenging, but the benefits you feel after is what you're looking for. And then the next day when you try to do it again, it's just going to be a little bit easier. Okay, so the moral of the story, so to speak, is just have something to look forward to and try it. Tomorrow when you wake up, just think of 3 things that day that you are looking forward to in that day. Even if you have to go really, really small, you're going to go get groceries. Again, a task, a chore. You don't have to do it. But then, when you look in the fridge, it looks fuller. That makes you feel better. So it's about how you feel from the chore, not the chore itself.
Right. And greetings, our friend in South Africa. What a beautiful country.
Right.
I want to check that out. I've been reading Elon Musk's book of it. Talking about pressure. That guy, my God.
Hey, and if the guy from South Africa, if you got any questions for us,
yeah.
throw them in. Talk about your situation. We'll be glad to help.
We're talking about the holidays, or we can open it up to other things. I was going to say, the compare and despair. The holidays is it's like divorce samurai. What does that mean? You may be going to, if you have kids or some reason to see the ex. I've talked about this before. You see your in-laws or a friend that used to be mutual and now they don't give you the time of day, or they look at you like you're a terrorist. You see people walking down the street hand in hand. The TV's full of families and warmth. I've been through this. I think I did a pretty intense video on this back in the day. My kids, the Christmas trees in the background. I'll call him back. The Christmas tree is there, Kevin. Big window, warm fire, and my daughter is at the window, just like looking at me, a little kid back in the day. And I'm driving off, bro. I'm driving off to go to Norwalk to this hotel, which I did a video on, that literally is a Roach Motel. Christmas, bro. Now, when I got in there, I looked in the mirror, and that was a change for me, the holidays. I was like, other than being at war, like missing a limb or something, or having the mafia wipe out your entire family, this gets pretty intense, okay? I'm looking in the mirror like there are 2 ways to go. Easily go in the toilet, be a freaking zombie, fake, or you go the warrior's path, the samurai's path, through it, and you grow. And you all on this call, who you guys want to grow. So you're part of the samurai now, man. The attitude. So it is about that desire. And I think Kevin and I, we've talked a little about this. I don't know his feelings directly, but what I did was I knew I had to change my frame of reference. So I literally put on, Tony Robbins, Michael Singer, everybody, Rocky movies, not so much to take refuge, but to have some other feeding into my mind other than the crap. I'm in a crappy motel. Tomorrow night I'm sleeping in the car maybe because of, making the hotel. Got to deal with work, the children, right? So you got to make a decision. Okay? And sorry, all these texts. So that's what I invite you. Change the narrative. And that's why it's important to have a tribe. Email us, divorcestrong@yahoo.com, and we'll put a fire under your ass and give you a personalized program to get through. But if you don't do that, then your local pastor or friends or what have you, okay? But the main thing, and I got fired up from this, is tell yourself, look, I'm going to grow through this, not just go through it without blame. Okay, if she did this, that, dude, nobody cares. They say they care, but they don't. I mean, there's nothing they can say. Your friends, family, this is you. Look in the mirror because that's the Calvary. All right, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, what you talk about there, a lot of this is his daughter in the window with the Christmas tree is obviously a little bit different. That's a little bit more sensitive. However, even that, he's driving away, and a part of him can, I don't know if it did, but it can, if he chooses to, think, you know what, my little girl is okay because she has that setting on this day.
Right.
So you can always get some positive. I know if there's anyone watching that is, going through the thick of the storm, the eye of the storm, they don't really care about hearing that right now because to them, this is the worst thing that's ever happened.
No, you make a great point. That's a powerful point to be, and I didn't even think about it because I was off on a tangent, but to be grateful that the child has, that warmth and love in the house and there's stuff there. So, no, thank you for making that point. It's excellent. That's the highest level to have gratitude for situations. Okay. And I have to tell you, in this situation, she's really thrived. I'm very proud of her. Great student and focused. So, it's your job to be the port in the storm, whether you like it or not. And that's what a manning up is. Okay, manning up is a lot of things, but that as well. But, I read this book where the person was saying, if you want to change behavior within yourself, assume your partner or people in your life can read your mind. Now, we can debate if that's right or not, whatever. But if my daughter could read my mind at that time, right, because I'll use that example, or your friend, whatever, or this guy's ex-lover who we opened up with, that's interesting. How would I go about that? Well, I would hold in my mind, I'm powerful and proud of you, my daughter, etc. Does that make sense?
It does. That's strong. That's strong. Welcome to Brian. Brian has just joined the call. Brian, if you have any questions for us, just throw them in. We're talking about getting over the holidays, but really we're just branching out into a whole bunch of topics because they're all connected. They're all connected. And Randall, one thing that you just said there that spoke out to me was the idea of manning up and the whole importance of just, especially during this time, letting go of that whole manning up, what it used to refer to it as, right? Because when we talk about getting through the holidays, someone may ask you, hey, how are you going to get through this first holidays being alone? And you, being the man, may say, well, I'm good. I'm just, watch a movie, have a beer, and all this shit. Well, that's not true, is it? Like, is it true? It may be, but you're going to have a much harder time getting through things because people around you are then going to assume, well, they don't need help. They're good. They got the beer. They got the movies. They're good. So it's important to be a bit more open than that. So, Randall, if there's nothing more about getting through the holidays, and like I said, anyone that has a question, you can throw them in there. Why don't we switch topics?
It's funny because there's a reminder on my Alexa to call a girl tonight that I'm talking to. So that opens up. Maybe that's the universe talking about dating.
Let's talk about redating then, because obviously one of our questions at the start from quote David was about dating again. So why don't we go through some do's and don'ts in regards to dating when you've just been divorced?
And Kevin, are there any ladies on watching? That would be interesting to get.
Yeah, if there are, then message through, ladies, because I know someone messaged. There are women out there because one woman messaged a comment through our last video talking about how happy she is. Michelle, Melissa, something like that. So yeah, so there are men and women that are going to watch this video for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hit us with some comments and questions because I want to tailor towards you people who are watching. But all right, so dating, I'm going to say two things and then pass it to Kevin, then we can back and forth. Be yourself is the main thing. What are we talking about, do's and don'ts? But for the love of everything in the universe, don't go into, you can't believe what my ex did to me. I mean, do you want to be the person that does that? I've gone out with girls who go into that and I'm just like, honey, seriously, going in that direction because all it does is stunt your growth. And then the other point is a little retro, but I think it is important here is gratitude, giving gratitude, I do believe is the highest thing and opens the door to self growth. And if you want to spark that change of direction, trajectory, whether it's dating or getting healthy, whatever, to be grateful for things is amazing. Like, again, I talk about Singer a lot, but every time he goes through a door, he thinks about Earth's place in the universe. How it's a miracle we're on this planet. Look at, would you want to be on Mars, Venus, Saturn, the moon? None of these have life sustaining stuff. Now, maybe in galaxies, I'm not going to debate that, whether there's UFOs and stuff. But the point is, for us to be on this earth with clean water and food and everything, get grateful for that and your day will change. I'm telling you, if you sandwich your day, that'll feed into dating. Why? Here I come. I'm going to see this girl, right? Hey, how are you? Oh God, here we go again. And third day versus, hey, what's up? Great to see you. I'm so happy I'm in a restaurant able to eat and not be shot at. I mean, it can be that simple, man. Unless you're in New York City, I get it. You guys got to watch out, or Chicago. But Kevin, what are your add-ons to that?
Yeah. So about her, she this, she that, and you're on a date with this woman. That's not your therapist or your friend to just kind of like rattle off a whole bunch of complaints. And everyone is intuitive. People are intuitive. When you spend time with them, but all you're doing is complaining about them, they're automatically going to think that you're going to complain about them as well. However, on the flip side, I've been surprised through my dating post-divorce how open women are to hearing, just not talking about the details or complaints, but just actually telling them, yeah, I went through a divorce. It was a really tough time. I went through a lot of pain, but I worked on myself. I spent a lot of time working on myself. Just saying that is enough. You can get through details and stuff as a relationship goes on, but just telling them that, yeah, I've been really upset about it, but I've done a little work on myself, and now I'm ready for a relationship. That's the first part. The second part is take your time. I read this quote that it's important to love being alone first, because then when you find someone, you're finding someone out of love and not loneliness.
Yeah.
Because that's how I was at first. I'm like, okay, I need to find someone, because you're looking to find someone to fill that time.
A port in the storm, yeah.
Exactly. But then when you find hobbies for yourself, which during COVID time is pretty easy, you find hobbies, you fill your time with other things. Then when you meet the right person, it's like, oh, I actually want to spend more time with this person as opposed to my hobbies. That's when you know you've met someone you actually want to know and get to know better, as opposed to just finding someone to fill your time with. Randall?
Really well said. And it segues into my next point. Guys, I'm moving around because I told you I had sciatica. I've been on my back so if I'm squirming, it's just my back. But I'm thankful I'm getting better. So I love what Kevin just said, which is when we go out and we're looking to fill a hole. So when I sit down for coffee with this woman, hi, I'm Randall. Can you fill the hole that's inside me and the hollowness and desperation I feel and hopelessness? That's not going to go over well. And they smell that. They read it. And you have as well when you go out with somebody who's in that state looking to fill you up. We're talking about dating and marriage. Oh, you disappeared. So we're talking about dating after divorce. Okay, so you go in there as a full person who's looking to share their life, not an energy vampire, somebody who's looking to save. And then that's a whole different story, and it's powerful. Very high level. I'm on balancing on that back and forth, but that's my mantra for myself when I meet people. The other thing is what Kevin said is a great point. When you develop your own hobbies and interests and you own those or return to them because I'll bet, Kevin, everyone we talk to is divorced, has a hobby that was deep in their heart and they gave it up for the marriage. They gave up part of themselves. Now, look, you're married, you have responsibilities, or kids. You can't go do the punk rock band. I get that. But it's very common for people to return to things they love, whether it's music, stamp collecting, or whatever, triathlons. When you do that, you return to self, and then you go out and you find people who are connected to that. Pretty soon, you're in that runners club or that whatever club, and you meet people, and it grows, and then you're in a relationship. Okay. Um, I don't, this is kind of personal, but last night, for some reason, I think it's from the gratitude journaling. I'm in day 20 of this, Kevin. I had the most profound feeling when I was sleeping, dreaming of being with this amazing woman and just kissing her. Right. Now, it wasn't like a sex, went crazy that direction, but it really felt connection and like spiritual, right? And I think that comes from the gratitude. So that's as deep a share as I'm going to get with that, Kevin.
Right, because you're feeding your mind, right? You feed. I mean, I have mixed feelings about what the dreams mean. My
Right.
therapist is very like firm on it, but I mean, right there, you're feeding your mind with positive things. It's like when you watch a scary movie and then you go to bed straight away. If I watch a scary movie, Randall, and then I go to bed straight away, I have
Yeah.
so it's totally connected in the same way. And I want to go back to something else. We used to speak to a guy, and he would go on date after date after date, and whenever it wouldn't work out, he would get really depressed about it, which is understandable. And that's another reason why it's important to have hobbies for yourself, because we've already been through a divorce where we're on the high, we're on the static, and then a big drop down. And sometimes when you go back to dating without learning about yourself or without finding your own hobbies, and you're dating someone and it doesn't work out, it can almost feel like a mini divorce, Randall, because it's like the same thing. It's that rejection and then just collapse, and then you're back to having nothing again. So, and it's really, really important, because I think, sometimes we give people advice of, don't date for a certain amount of time because you haven't done enough with yourself yet. And I know back when I was divorced, if someone gave me that advice, I wouldn't listen either, because I'd be thinking, well, they don't know what they're talking about. But for the people that are watching or listening to this, take note from two people that have actually been through it. Both Rand and I have dated after divorce, but without learning about ourselves or thinking about our hobbies and interests, it's really a lot more difficult. And women are a lot more attracted to guys who already have things that they're doing, right?
Which they may. I mean, they might be. I'm just saying that when you feel a little hollow and you're looking for somebody to fill it up. And when you're giving up parts of yourself to be in a relationship, you got to ask, why are you doing that? Is it really her fault, or you just do it automatically? Now, again, if you're a golf player and golf takes a long time to play, I'm not saying you're playing that every day now, and don't cut it out. You understand it's a balance, but you're bringing yourself into the relationship and that energy, and to have that sense of like people can see what you're thinking about yourself and the situation, Kevin.
For sure, it's just giving off that positive energy, right? And giving off that positive energy, it comes back to you, and you go from there. I mean, especially for those people that are doing online dating right now, which is pretty typical. I mean, anyone that's dating now, the vast majority is through online, and that's just like a minefield in itself. So then you've really got to be sure of what you're looking for and have a sense of confidence about you, because it's not like going to someone in a bar where it's just like you and that person. You're contacting someone on an online dating site. They may be getting messages from like dozens and dozens of people.
What's it?
And you're so focused on standing out that you get a little bit freaked out by it. And then that also kind of comes across on a date. You could try to, we go back to the comparison thing, you're trying to compare and compete as opposed to just being you. Because if it does go into a relationship which is looking for, or maybe what you're looking for, comparing and competing, it ain't gonna last.
But Kevin, that brings up a great point, which is, what is the relationship you want? How does it feel? What's the energy, right? What are you seeking? Are you seeking the hot woman? Okay, Why though? Then she's not into what you're into. Pretty soon, we've all been there. A very attractive woman can be somewhat unattractive and you want out. So start where you want to end. Because I think from divorce, you may feel guilty, shy, rejected, a degree I'm a loser because this happened. I need someone to validate me. Whereas when you just walk through the front door and say, hey, this is what I am, this is what I'm looking for to yourself. You can talk to her as well, because I think that's a whole nother story where, you go out with women, I'm looking for this, that. Then you just walk the other way because you need some organic growth there. But when I say, what do you want? It's an energetic thing. Like for me, someone who's really into personal growth and physicality, we can exercise and grow together, challenge each other, has a sense of humor, likes to see new places, but ultimately we're our best friends, okay? That energy. And that sounds a little like a Hallmark card, but it's good to start with that. Like, Joe, what do you really want in a relationship? What energy are you looking for, and embody that? Because then you win either way, Kevin.
Yeah, that's good. And every single kind of checklist, for lack of a better term, mark that you wrote off there, none of it was about, oh, she's got to be really hot. She's got to be this. Hair length has to be this length. Legs have to be this tall. Because ultimately, if you're looking for a relationship, that stuff's not really going to matter. For me, like, I want to know if I can actually spend time with the person and just feel comfortable. I want to know if I can just sit on a sofa with this person and just sit and be in peace without feeling like, oh, it's awkward silence, right? So, do you feel that it's a good idea for people to write these things down, kind of like a checklist, though? Like, let's say if someone's looking to start dating now, let's say this, what we're referring to as David from the start, where he's in this sexual thing for a few months now, or like a month or so. Like, would it be a good idea for him, for example, or anyone else, to actually write down what they're looking for? Or do you think that could do a disservice because it's losing that organic connection that you could otherwise find?
We're talking about dating after divorce. Welcome to Divorce, Paleo, and Broke. That's a great question. I have been through that list thing, and it lasted for a while, but ultimately didn't. So maybe one of the things on the list didn't work out. I would say two things. I don't think it hurts to write that down. Just don't make it the tablets. What do they call it? The Rosetta Stone or something. I don't think it hurts to think about that and where you might meet that person. Obviously, I'm into fitness. I want somebody who appreciates that. So I'm not going to go look at Carl's Jr. and hang out in the parking lot, probably looking for that. I'll get involved in sports and fitness. The other thing is, and a riff off this, and I'll bounce it back to you, Kevin. We talk about the energy you want with the woman and being on the couch, right? Just being able to share time together. The biggest challenge to get to there is to be able to do that with yourself. Like today, I've been doing a lot of investing and stuff online, and my brain is fried from literally 8 days of studying and looking at the screens. I had to take the day off. I chop wood all day. And it's amazing that without the distraction of food or TV or internet, that can be a struggle. And you want to work, that's the root. You want to work there. That's where the samurai works. So if you work that, it's not going to be an issue with when you're with somebody else, because you'll have those vibes. You'll be in control. So answer your question is, do the couch yourself, and then it won't be a problem with the other person. And I think it is worth thinking, hey, what would I like in a person, and organically that energy. Think of terms of energy, which you were getting at.
Right. So it's more having an idea, but not as a checklist. Right. We don't want to have a checklist, because then some people have a checklist literally, and if they meet someone, but they don't, they're not into fitness as much as I am, it may be okay because everything else is great.
That's right. That's right. It's a broad topic, and one many people have different opinions. do what works. But I think the important thing is to go back with what you said is be good with yourself first, and these things will fall into place, right? And I know, especially going back to the guy who first wrote us, who I hope is on this. You feel that demon stuff welling up. Use it to grow. It's just like a growth opportunity. Okay, you breathe, you relax. Okay, and again, that's a broader training question. Email us at divorcestrong@yahoo.com. Okay, because that's the road you want to go down. Kevin?
Okay, cool. So we still have a few people watching. I'm going to do one last call out to these guys to write in the comments section any question that they have or anything that they're struggling with. Because otherwise, after a few minutes, we'll just wrap up. But I would like to thank the guys that did email us at our email address with their questions, because that's what really gets these things going.
Here's what I suggest we do. One, you guys ask us a question. We're going to open the floor, okay? If I don't see any questions, we're going to go into the program we're offering and just talk about it a little bit. Okay? Why don't we do that? So hit us with questions now. And Kevin, we'll talk about the program. And then if any question comes up, we'll jump into that. Okay? Whoever just jumped on, send us a question about holiday, or if you just jumped off, I don't know, whatever. Just send us a question. So, all right, Kevin. So let's talk about our program. And if you people watching have a question about the holidays or dating, hit us and we'll jump into that. Okay.
Okay, so the program that Randall and I offer, first of all, we're always happy to jump on a Zoom call with anyone, whenever. That's the first thing, especially to the guy who emailed us with his, that just moved to California to look after his parents. We're definitely there for you. Drop us back with a request to chat to us on the Zoom. Otherwise, what we started out with this program was a 12-week program, and really just helping people through getting through divorce. Each week we would talk about a topic, whether it was morning routine, gratitude, exercise, getting over grief, talking with friends and family about divorce, whatever that week's topic was. What we then found was that a lot of people were at different levels. Some of them, they didn't want to talk about morning routine. They didn't need it. They didn't want to talk about, getting through the eye of the storm with friends and family, because they didn't need it. So now we basically do a customized program, okay? It's for any number of weeks you want it, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever. It's really just based on what you're looking for. We have one guy, I won't mention the name, but we now do I'm a personal trainer on the side, and Randall, as you know, does a lot of yoga and fitness as well. So we now see him once a week for training sessions. And then we're also obviously there for him if he needs to talk about anything on the personal side as well. So all you have to do is drop us an email for further info. What are you holding into, Randall?
Can you read that?
That's our email address. All right.
Yeah, divorce, just email us this. And again, if you just jumped on, send us a question about holidays, getting through it, or dating, or whatever. We're opening the floor. While we're waiting for questions, we're talking about the program. We've been asked to talk about it and just explain it. What about cost? And everybody's always asking about price.
I won't go into cost right now, because the reason I say that is because we've had clients from the US, we have a couple in the UK, and we have a couple in Canada. And so obviously because of exchange rates and stuff, that all differs. Yeah. Also, since some people just want to sign up for 4 weeks, 12 weeks, it also differs there. So you can just email us for more info. But apart from that, listen, access any questions you have. There's no more questions coming through. So Randall, do you want to finish off with a couple of other points in regards to getting over the holidays before we wrap up?
Sure, absolutely. So I would say do your even 1, 2, or 3, get a notebook at the store, do gratitude, what I'm grateful for in the morning and the evening, okay? Get that into your practice. That will sandwich your day. It'll start transitioning you in a different direction, which I cannot explain, okay? Sometimes we have clients that we say they want to work with us, okay? We had a guy a few weeks ago, but for some reason resisting the gratitude journal particularly, and it just wasn't working, okay? So I invite you to try these on like a jacket. Okay, if it doesn't work, we'll set it aside, but give it a chance, because a lot of this stuff, Kevin, it gets into the body and mind. You don't understand it until you feel it inside. So writing 3 things down that you're grateful for in the morning. It could be anything from, like Kevin was saying, I get to clean the floors to get today, to I'm grateful my grandparents are still alive, or I'm grateful I'm healthy and strong. At night, you look back, and on the day, I'm grateful for these things. And then you, if you want to, just add in there, today is going to be an amazing day with something really cool is going to happen. It's going to shift your energy, man. I'm telling you, things will start to change drip by drip, and people will notice that. You'll start to notice, hey, there's an energy shift now. Because right now you're in a load of crap, you're in a lot of pain, you got guilt, fear, all human emotions, and that's fine. They will never go away. The idea is to step outside that burning circle of fire, Johnny Cash, and be able to live outside it and have some control whether to engage or not with it. There's a host of other things I really suggest that are helpful. Hit us here and we'll get you going. Kevin?
Yeah, and I'll just add on to that when you mentioned the gratitude thing. 3 things at the start of the day, 3 things at the end of the day that you're grateful for that happened in that day. And also, depending on what state you're in, not what state, but what status you're in during your process, whether it's separation, divorce years ago, but still struggling, whatever. Think of it 3 things to do the next day that give you some purpose. Is it, shoveling the snow?
Or even one, like anything.
Yeah, exactly. It could be, yeah. I mean, ideally aim for 3 things, though. Because we can all aim for 3 things that next day. Even if it's responding to an email that you've been meaning to do. Just action points. Doesn't have to be life-changing things. You're not at that level right now if you're going through this, what you're going through. Okay?
And David Betrayus, the Navy SEAL, you guys might have heard of him, but his big thing is make your bed in the morning, each morning. I really like a fresh made bed. Because, Kevin, you make a great point. Like, cleaning the floors, making bed, what am I, like a slave, whatever? No. If you're in the crap, the last thing you want is a bed that looks terrible, dishes around that's why in hard military campaigns, they maintain discipline and keep that environment structured. If your apartment is a frickin' or house is a disaster, that is a reflection of the internal. So just clean that up. Even making your bed can be a huge thing, Kevin.
Yeah, so have the 3 things that you're going to do that next day, write them down, and then during the day, get them done. And if you don't get them done, that's okay, but then ask yourself why you didn't. And that will just make it better for the next day. That's really all I had. Thank you again for the people that wrote in with questions. To Robert, as we're calling him, message us back, arrange that Zoom call so we can give you more specific advice once we find out more things. Do you have kids? Why are you looking after your parents? Things like that. But apart from that, this was great. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been fantastic. Been great.
We will do it again, fully in the new year. Maybe that will be a good one. Resolutions.
I like that.
Not so much about making sure it's New Year's resolution, but just kind of like what that process is for a new year, a new start. So we will be back.
Yeah.
In January sometime. Ryan and I will be back with something very similar to this. What's this here? Agree about making the bed. Brian. Sounds daft, but try it, from Brian.
No, Brian's right. He's got a good point. And again, Brian, since you're into that, make the bed, and then every time you go through a door or wash your hands, visualize the kind of relationship you want, or visualize a job. I mean, take control. We don't have to sit back and have all these. Kevin mentioned a horror movie. I'm going off, and you know me, I'll just go on a tangent, but I remember after the breakup, whatever, I listed out in a notebook, Kevin, and I'll let everybody go soon, but this is cool. In a notebook, every time thoughts came up, all right, I just wanted to see. And I put it down, came back a week later, literally every 2.5 minutes. boom, boom, like machine gun fire. It's like a horror movie going in your mind constantly. We need to shift that, making the bed, cleaning your space, and all these other things we're talking about. So I'm going to end with that, or else we'll be here till 10.
And also, I'll just add one more thing. Post-its. You know, if you're struggling or forgetting to do something, one of our clients, again, I won't mention the name, but his feet are at an angle. And so because of that, he can't do certain exercises. And it's not because of a physical problem, it's because of it's just a habitual thing. He was overweight before, so he used to have his feet in an angle. And I said, well, you're losing weight now. You don't need to do that anymore. And I keep reminding him, point your toes forward. But It's difficult to remember because you spent 30, 40 years, whatever it is, with your feet at an angle. So I told him, write on a Post-it note and put it on the fridge, on the door, so whenever you see it, it just says, point your toes forward. And that can obviously be amended to whatever it is. If it's exercise, drop and do 2 push-ups, whatever it is.
And he's a big time executive. And it's funny because it shows that people who are very successful, everybody's in the same boat. Brian, thank you for your nice comments, my man. All the best to you, brother. And everybody else watching, I think we're wrapping. My back needs to stretch. And we'll see you on January. Hit us with questions at divorcestrong@yahoo.com. Merry Christmas. It's up to you to make it merry. Kevin?
Perfect. I just mimicked that. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. You're going to get through it just fine.
Yeah.
We're there for you if you need us. You know how to reach us. But apart from that, be grateful for something, anything, and look forward to something, anything, whenever it is. Take care.
Peace out, people.